Hi, this is Tier. This is my vlog for week 7. Currently updating. I'm just going to do a little overcap the past week of my piano practicing and the progress of my creative project. So I'm finding out more and more as I carry on with my piano practicing. I'm finding there's a lot of habits that I have as a naturally as a guitarist, I suppose. That I almost need to sort of recorrect when I'm applying myself to the piano. Like, for instance, my piano tutor, Taruko, points out to me it's something I didn't really notice at first. But when I'm placing my hands on the keys, whether it's left hand or right hand, naturally I'm sort of having more of a, you know, my fingertips are sort of doing most of the work, because that's sort of how I'm used to the guitar, the frets on a guitar. You sort of, grip the neck like a baseball bat, and your fingers are using their power, and you use your fingertips usually to make contact with the strings. And Taruko has pointed out that because I'm doing that, and I do have such large hands, especially compared to her, and I suppose what she might be used to. She's pointed out that I'm losing a lot of control by doing this because I sort of have my fingers in this closed grip, and when I need to say change from a C major chord to maybe a G7, or maybe even something with a accidental in there with a sharp or a flat or something, because my hand's in a bit of a grip. It takes a lot of readjusting, for either from my wrist or from the angles which my fingers are coming. So it's using a lot of extra energy, and there's not as much control and strength. So that's something that I'm constantly trying to I suppose rewire my brain into realizing when I'm playing. So within the past week, as I've written about in my posts, I had a lesson with Michael Erasmus. It wasn't as it was more of a sort of consultation, because it was the first time I sat down with him. It wasn't so much of a structured pre-planned lesson. We sort of sat down. I gave him a rundown of sort of my current progress and understanding of piano and what I've been working on. As well as I brought these same books that I've been using with Taruko. One of them being the Alfred's Basic Piano Course, level 1, and I'm sort of been making progress in this book. So I showed Michael up into everything that I'd learned, and so basically now from something that's changed, and as I've written about in my previous journal entry, is I've now basically signed up with Taruko, my piano tutor, for 2 weekly lessons. So I'm meeting with her every Monday afternoon, and as well as every Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. until 3:40. So they're 40-minute lessons twice a week. And then in addition to that, at least once a week, I will be sitting down with Michael as well for I suppose some extra feedback. Since he is a piano tutor as well, you know, the more feedback I can get, I think the better, the more that I'm going to get out of it. Really, getting some different perspectives, different points of view. But it's going great so far anyway. So when it comes to what I'm actually currently working on for the piano, is I've been working through all these little exercises and introducing new chords for both the left and right hand respectively. And I'm actually currently waiting. I've ordered last week the official preliminary Guild of Music Australia preliminary piano book, which is going to have the specific sets from list A, B, and C, of which I will pick one song out of each to perform for my mock exam at the end of the project period in a few weeks' time. So I'm hoping that will arrive soon, because until I receive that, I can't actually start learning I need to basically pick 3 pieces that I want to play and start learning them, start studying them, to the best of my ability, as well as carrying on with all of these exercises. So just little things. Without going into too much detail, I'll write some more about it in the journal entry. But something that I've been sort of having difficulty with, and conscious effort putting into practicing is obviously the difference between separating your left and your right hand. They're a lot of the time on a piano completely separate from one another. Generally, your left hand playing the bass, and generally the right hand playing the melody, the embellishments. So it's really about separating those almost two sides of the brain almost. I find, and especially with reading music, because you're reading two staves at once, not just the regular one. And I was probably about 7 years old last time I actually read sheet music, so that in itself has been a bit of a practice for me, relearning the comfortability with the stave, reading ahead, everything like that. It's obviously not something that I'm really focusing on, the deficiency in reading sheet music or sight reading. It's not really something I'm focusing on for this project, but it's more than apparent that it's getting a very good workout. And especially with I've never had to, for anything in my musical experience, never read off a bass stave before using the bass clef. So especially introducing that and recognizing, because it's laid out a little bit differently than the treble stave, the treble clef. So yeah, what I'm up to in my book is I've actually gotten a fair way through it now. I'm actually up to what are we? Page 43, and mind you, this is about 110 pages. So I'm a good solid way through this book. Learning started at the very basics. Looking at posture, how you hold your hands. So all the very simple stuff, and then showing you where even the keys on the keyboard. This is sort of all the stuff I sort of skimmed over. I went to the more practical stuff. But yeah, so it's been very very helpful having previous musical understanding even as a guitarist for this, because I have an understanding of the formula for chords. I do have understanding of the formula for at least what I'm working on for piano at the moment, the major scale, and it's not really something you have to worry too much about. Playing in the key of C, C major on the piano, as no accidentals. But yeah, and I'm finding, and some feedback I actually got from Chiruka was that I seem to be picking a lot of this up very quickly, both with reading music and playing the notes on the actual keyboard. And I would say that is due to the fact that I do have, some musical understanding already, some experience within this. But who knows? I mean, I might, within the next 4 or 5 weeks, might, become the next Beethoven or Mozart. I don't know what the future holds, but so far so good. This project is very enjoyable, actually. Very enjoyable. I think I'm getting a lot of... I'm seeing and noticing a lot of... I couldn't play a single thing on the piano before. Couldn't read the music or anything like that. I knew 1-3-5 major and all that sort of stuff, but I couldn't play a song. And even though I'm just doing some very simple stuff, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and, all the classics, I actually get a feeling of accomplishment through learning these things. It's something that I never quite understood before. So to see myself picking it up, within the last 6 or 7 weeks, I'm quite happy currently with the progress I've made. So it's just a matter of sticking to my project plan and managing my time and making sure I don't lose track of my goals. Which is basically to hold my mock exam in week 10 and to do my performance of my 3 songs in mock exam in week 12, and the performance of my songs in week 13, the final week. So it's still going to be a matter of, like I said, studying those pieces and learning them and trying to play them the best I can, but at the end of the day, so far I feel even if I am not able to learn, 3 songs 100% accurately, or play them 100% accurately, I should say. I don't have to memorize it. But even if I'm not able to play them 100% accurately, I'm still very, very satisfied with my current progress. And this is something that I more than see myself carrying on with past the project period. Piano's always been something I've been interested in, so this has been fantastic. So I'm going to cut this here. I'm going to do a little bit of my journal entry to add to this, but that's it for this week. This is Tier, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you.